Rehabilitation is the learning to live inside not only one's body but also inside one's own very being. You embody it and bring it to life. Hey, I'm Nivea and I hope you're doing good. When you hear certain cases or names, an entire story just comes into your mind, right? For example, when an Indian hears the case, Nirbhaya case, you know exactly what it is. An entire story comes into your mind. Similarly, when a Keralite hears Soumya case, we know what exactly it is. And now the very recent Hathras case, again, yes, they are all the heinous act of rape cases. Similar is one such case in US. If you ask any New York living citizen or US citizen, they exactly have a story to tell about the Central Park case, also known as Central Park Jogger Case or even Central Park 5 case. Now, a question that might come from a few of the viewers would be like, Nivea, why are you going to, US and jumping out of your country and then speaking of the cases that are there when you definitely do not have, any scarcity of such cases here in India as well, unfortunately. Well, the answer to it you'll definitely understand by the end of this video. The entire story, how it is in this case, but here, the main point is that it's not one victim here, rather there are 6 victims in this case. 1 girl and 5 teenage boys. So before I tell you the entire story of this case, let me give you a summary in one line about this case, what exactly it is. 5 young boys, teenagers, out of which 3 are black, are wrongly accused and alleged to have raped a girl and are being sent into prison where they serve around 10 to 13 years. Yes, so here what has happened is a girl is being raped, she is one victim, and then there are 5 young guys who are wrongly accused and hence they are also victims because they are going into the jail, into the prison for no reason. And guys, you should understand that this incident happened in 1989. And right now, the time when I'm speaking, today it is October 2020 and that is like 21 years after this particular case happened. And even now, the situations are not different, unfortunately. If you would have heard my statement before, you would have realized that I specifically mentioned that there were 3 black men out of the 5. And yes, I pointed it for a purpose because the case was already, put into the mind of interrogators as to it is being done by black men. It is very easy to just, point out and tell that they are wrong because they are just black. That's the way they take. Now, it is very difficult for us Indians to relate to it. Yes, I understand because thankfully we do not have the division of black and white here in India. However, I can definitely help you out to relate it much easier because here we do have the caste system, that is Dalits. You know what is happening to them here. Similar is the way that used to happen or is even now happening for the black there in US. Okay, now let me explain you the entire story. Trisha Maylie, a 29-year-old girl, on April 19, 1989, went out for jogging at around 9 p.m., which is very normal for her because since 2 years she has been jogging almost every day at the same time. Being a workaholic, she used to extend her working hours and then work beyond her working hours. That was very normal for her, and hence she never got time to jog in the morning because she had to go to office. She needed to prepare to go to office, and then after coming back, that's when she had her time for herself. So she went always, in the evening. And also it was like a stress release time for her because she loved jogging. So whatever there was stress, like whatever stress she had from the office, she used to just, burn it by jogging. That's the way she was. And yes, this is 20 years ago, but even now you hear the same dialogues, which is like the relatives and her friends often stated that, do not jog at 9 p.m. It's too late for a girl to go out, especially in Central Park, where the situations were not that safe and all of that. Everyone, stated, like all who cared for her basically stated not to run at that point of time. That was very normal for her to hear as well because even now it is, quite normal for us, unfortunately, hearing these dialogues, right? Like to not go outside at a particular time or after a particular time at night. Girls should be at home. She heard it as well. But as any other youth, any normal person, even now, how the girls see is like, no, our society is quite safe. We believe that, no one will attack us. We have a self-confident nature in us, which tells us, no, that's not an issue. And similarly, she also went out for jogging at 9 p.m. that night. That's one side. Now, the same time, what has happened is 5 teenagers, young boys, Raymond Santana, Kevin Richardson, Antron McCray, Korey and Yusuf Salaam. These 5 guys, not knowing what is going to happen in their very near future, they were just outside just like that, and then they saw a gang of 15 to 30 boys coming from the other side. I mean, they were all black, and they didn't know what exactly that gang was up to. I mean, they just joined the gang thinking it would be fun. But unfortunately, the gang was actually going to stab innocent people and for robbing. I mean, it was all violent acts that they were actually going. But these 5 guys did not know what this gang was going to. Completely, they were unaware of this. And what happened is these men, the other men in the team, when they attacked a few innocent people, police came to know about it, and they started searching for these guys out there. It means this entire gang who did it. Unfortunately, police caught these 5 people, in fact, who are innocent, and they were brought into jail to question about stabbing and robbery. I mean, the act that the other guys in the gang did. Now, here, Trisha Maylie, while she is jogging on a particular area, there was no one. She was alone there. That's when a person came from behind and stabbed her. I mean, hit her head. And she fell down. She was being pulled away into the bushes, and that guy named Matthias Reyes, the rapist, the actual rapist, raped her. And she, in fact, tried to run. She tried to escape from there, and half naked, she actually ran to another place. But then the guy again held her and stabbed her very brutally. And in between this, he even asked her where her house was, like exact address of Trisha Melee, because he wanted to rob the things at her home. But Trisha Maylie never, in spite of, so much of pain that she was going through, she never uttered a single word. I mean, she didn't tell anything about her address. She didn't give away the address, thankfully. And after raping, very bad situation, she was just flooded in blood. In fact, her clothes were all, red and black. I mean, it was not any longer white. It was white t-shirt, but then it just became complete red and black. He left her thinking that she would die very soon because her condition was very bad. And he took her headphones, which she had while jogging, and then took that away because that's the only thing he could rob from her, and then went away. Later at around 1 a.m., police investigators basically find this body here, and then they definitely questions these 5 guys as well about the incident that happened in Central Park, because they were also around the Central Park area, these 5 guys, which is quite reasonable. I agree, you need to question them because they might, have seen something or anything related to it. Probably they can answer, so they were questioned. But the problem here was that the investigator Linda Fairstein and her other interrogators basically had already put in their head that these 5 young guys are itself the reason for the rape. They already had set it in the mind. They didn't have a question. Rather, they were already sure that they are black. So obviously, it is them who did it. They were basically framing the story, and they were asking the guys to just agree to it. They were not questioning them. It was basically, asking them to just agree to the points that they are stating. Korey, being 16 years old, he was in a separate room without his parents as well. He was being questioned. Now, it's not questioned. I mean, ideally, it is supposed to be questioned, or interrogated. But then what was happening here was the investigators were bashing him, stabbing him, and physically and mentally, he was in a trauma at that time wherein he was asked to tell that he is one of the persons who was actually involved in the rape. And Korey gave away that statement so that he can actually go home after saying it. So, because that's what the policeman stated. Like, if you tell that, whatever we say is true and you just repeat it, then you can go home. Otherwise, you'll stay here. But apart from Korey, 4 other kids, they are basically juveniles, and hence they were being questioned or interrogated in the presence of their parents. Still, it did not help because the police were stating to the parents that you can take child and go from here only if they agree to whatever we are stating. And hence, the children are just crying there. They're completely worried, and hence parents thought it's better that we basically just sign whatever they are stating. I mean, it's true, and then we'll just take our children and then go away. And finally, the interrogators took a complete video, a tape of the guys stating about what happened during that day. And those true videos, the complete video tapes are actually available on YouTube. I'll share the link in the description box. You can go ahead and view the videos of the proper tapes, the true ones. And when you see the videos, you will understand exactly that whatever is being told in this particular video, the tape, is completely not true, and they're being forced to tell it, because every time an interrogator asks a question, is it that way, Korey is telling no, it is not, and then isn't it, he again basically questions, and that's when Korey is like, okay, so I should be telling a yes, the no is wrong answer, so he tells yeah, it's that way. Similarly, the attire of the jogger, she was wearing a long joggings while actually jogging, but then Antron is stating it as shorts, or even other guy I remember, I mean, they're completely telling the attire also wrong. And in fact, the location that was being told in the videos is also different from where the rape actually happened. So in fact, there was no physical evidence, there was no DNA match, there was completely no evidence that these 5 guys actually raped the woman. In fact, they did not rape the woman after all, right? But still they were put into prison for around 10 to 13 years for a crime which someone else did altogether. Now coming to Trisha Maylie, the girl who got raped, she came out of the coma stage after 12 days. And after 15 months, she came for a trial wherein she clearly mentions that she doesn't remember anything that happened on that day of rape. In fact, she remembers everything that happened prior to it, like in the office, what happened and all of that. But then after that, like after she started jogging, she doesn't remember anything. Which again means that there is no evidence at all. And still, yeah, the guys are already serving their life in prison. And yes, Trisha Melee, in fact, she was not in good shape at all. She had issues while climbing stairs and she couldn't even smell a single thing. She didn't have the sense of smell. She lost it completely. So she had her own life of struggle after that. And yes, these 5 guys also, they didn't have a good life in the prison. Because the prison is definitely a hell. It's not a good space to be in. Especially the juvenile people, they were also included in fights at a very young age itself. Similarly, here, Korey Weiss one day had a fight with one of the guys in the prison in the TV area. That time, Korey Weiss did not know that he is actually fighting against Matthias Reyes. Yes, the guy who actually raped Trisha Melee. He was also in prison for some other case. He is having a fight with him. That's when Matthias Reyes, in fact, understands, oh, this is basically the guy who is there here because of me. I mean, I'm the one who should be here for that same reason, but it's this guy. Because Matthias Reyes knew these 5 guys through television. They were always out there in the television, and hence he knew their faces. And later, Matthias Reyes goes and apologizes to Korey Weiss for the fight that happened in the television room. In fact, in his heart, he was actually apologizing for the reason why Korey isn't here for the prison, but then he doesn't state it out to Korey. Later, Matthias Reyes himself goes and confesses to the investigators that it is me who actually raped Trisha Melee. That's when the truth comes out and Korey Weiss is being freed from the prison after 13 years. Other guys, because their age was not 16 when the case happened, they were already outside of prison. Like, they were freed before Korey was freed. The people outside were not looking with a good eye on them. They really had difficulty in finding a job for themselves. They couldn't live at all. I mean, it was not a good atmosphere at all around them. And hence, Raymond Santana, in fact, started robbery and also started dealing with drugs because he couldn't find a job. People were not giving him a job. So again, he was put into prison for that reason. So when the truth was out, when Matthias Reyes told the truth exactly what happened, Raymond Santana also came out of the prison. He was freed because ideally he had to serve more years in the prison because he's going for the second time, but then he was treated as if he was going for the first time in prison, so he could also get freed. And that's when these 5 guys actually got their life back. It's not just these 5 guys who got bad looks and words from the society, but even Trisha Maylie had to hear a lot of, cuss words while she was actually the victim. The black people, the supporters of these 5 guys, they were shouting out, stating she's a whore, she's a prostitute, just question her more, she has more than one boyfriend. Why did that lady go and run during that time? And that's the reason why she was raped. There were a lot of statements that even Trisha Melee had to hear. So ideally, what happened in this case? I would split it into 4 basically. 1, the victim never got justice. The second one, the 5 young guys just lost a part of their life for no reason at all. Third, the police investigators, whom ideally we should be respecting and whom we should be blindly, in fact, thinking that anytime if I have an issue, I can just go into a police station and then just speak to an investigator. They would help me. That's the way, that confidence should be there. We've completely lost it. And the fourth, Matthias Reyes or any rapist for that matter, whoever is the culprit here, the ideal culprit is out there, free, completely free. In fact, what happened here to Matthias Reyes? After raping Trisha Melee, very few days later itself, he went and raped another lady as well. So he is just free out there and he thinks I'm not going to be caught, so he is just going ahead and doing the same things again. So in order to understand what exactly happened in this case, I referred a few articles, books and videos, and let me share the same with you as well if in case you're interested to watch it or read them, then go ahead. So if you're looking for exactly to know what happened to these 5 guys alone, Central Park 5, these 5 guys, then go ahead and watch the series on Netflix, When They See Us, which completely deals with the story of these 5 guys alone. But if you want to know more about Trisha Melee, how she overcame all these bad incidents, and in spite of having hardship in her body as well, she ran a 4.5-hour, 26-mile marathon. So if you want to know how she completely overcame, in fact, the entire situation, then go ahead and read her own autobiography, I Am the Central Jogger. And third, if you want to know entirely what happens in New York, what happened exactly, not just this case, but about drug dealings and rest about Matthias Reyes and all of it, if you want to know the entire situation, what's happening in there, then go ahead and read Central Park 5 by Sarah Burns. Apart from all this, if you want to see the real videos, what exactly happened, I'll share you a few links in the description box. You can go ahead and then watch them. It's really pathetic how the police investigators just turned the entire story to just point it as a black as the culprits. So all that I hope for here is that later sometime in future, I watch this video which I am speaking right now and then say to someone that, oh, this all used to just happen in the past. It's just all bad history and it never happens anymore. I really wish that that day just comes, because enough is enough. This is Nivea signing off. Please do subscribe to my channel if you've not already. Until we meet next time, take care, happy reading, bye.